On 23rd of November 2022, the staff of the biggest medical institute of India, the AIIMS, logged into their terminals, only to notice that all their information had ceased. All India Institutes of Medical Science has experienced a ransomware attack. The attack has seized 5 servers and more than 1,300 desktops connected to the system. According to the Computer Emergency Response Team, the hackers have seized nearly 1.3 terabytes of data. This includes the personal information of patients, staff, students, and more. The blackout in servers has also delayed the aid provided to the patients. It took more than 2 months for AIIMS to get back to normal service. The hackers asked for the equivalent of 200 crores in bitcoins as of 2022 to unencrypt the information. It stands unknown whether the ransom was paid or not. Most concerning part about this story is that the hackers are alleged to be from China. The AIIMS incident is the most recent example of state-sponsored cybercrime. Cyber warfare is on the rise. The cyberspace seems to be the safest place for nations to attack each other without risking retaliation. You probably know about the Stuxnet and Operation Olympic Games. Stuxnet was a revolutionary virus, which could damage infrastructure in the real world. It was allegedly developed by Israel and America, who continued to deny any involvement. The virus made its way into the Bushehr nuclear power plant, and overloaded the centrifuges till they tore themselves apart. The scariest fact about Stuxnet is that it's open source now. Anybody can download, modify, and send it to conduct an attack. Stuxnet is among many different worms, malwares, and viruses that can be found in the dark web. These incidents sparks terror and misconceptions regarding cybercrime and warfare. First, it's necessary to differentiate between crime and warfare. Most kinds of distributed denial of service, ransomware, and theft of information fall into the category of cybercrime. The objective of cybercrime is to extort money from the victim. Files necessary for the running of the system are left intact. Cyber warfare is different. It is done to destroy cyber capabilities of the victims. All files, including the system files, are deleted, shutting the system down. Cyber warfare doesn't target the information of any individual or even an institution, but that of a whole nation. One of the biggest misconceptions about cybercrime is that it can spread over the everyday internet. While some malware does exist on the web, most institutions worth targeting use an enclosed internet. The only way for information to get into that system is to manually load the malware into the system through a memory stick. For example, the attack on Bushehr nuclear power plant, the virus couldn't have made its way through a mail. It was allegedly introduced into the system by an unidentified assailant. Attacking individuals is also very rare to see, as it is not profitable. It's more profitable for hackers to attack institutions and sell that information on the web, or ask for ransom like the AIIMS case. Thus, the best way to not get hacked is to simply not be on the internet, which in the modern world is an easier thing to say than to do, but institutions, which need not have access to the web, shouldn't be connected to it. It's better for institutions to have an enclosed internet with no access to the outer world, and monitor any information introduced into the system. Also, a malware can only work on the system it's designed to work on. For example, a malware made to work on C++ can't work on Java or any other language. It's more expensive for organizations to develop their own operation systems than it is for them to go for the mainstream ones. The US military, along with most Western nations, continue to use Ada as their primary programming language, but has started to shift to C++ in the recent years. Most weapons like missiles and fighter jets work on Ada and have very little connection to the outer world, which makes them very resistant to hacking. Also, the human-in-the-loop concept coined by the US military prevents computer systems from going rampant. Even though the media shows the hackers to be evil, which is the case most of the time, but there are exceptions. The primary reason large enterprises push for more restrictions on the web rather than making people aware of the hackers is that they are the best target for cyber attacks. Many big organizations, including the governments, run their online portals through the lowest bidding providers, which are often not as secure. Also, hacking into the database of an organization can give the hacker access to confidential files that the organization is trying to hide. For example, the Chinese population are engaged in hacking their government to unveil the crimes by the state. The people also need to hack the surveillance system just to go through their daily lives without being monitored. Without any cyber action, it is impossible to call for any protest or riots without the Chinese government knowing. Cyberspace is one of the ways the common individual can exercise their right to information and make a stand against the big corporations. Thus, the idea that cyber actors are always bad isn't exactly true. After all, the Stuxnet prevented Iran from going nuclear. The idea prevalent in the mainstream media that cyber warfare and bringing down nations isn't exactly true. Also, the idea that cyber attacks make conventional warfare redundant is wrong. If a nation drives tanks into our borders, then a cyber attack is not going to stop the advance. On the other hand, if a nation decides to disconnect from the web, the only way to provoke the nation is to attack them.